This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and we have been doing a number of interviews with exciting people who are doing great things.
Okay.
Aubrey Padmore, who is one of my real great friends and great admirers, recommended we share and that you update us and tell us a little bit about some of the great things you're doing. I saw a video of your son doing some t-shirts, and that immediately got my attention. So, so maybe just tell me a little about your background and how you got to this point in time and space. Okay.
Well, I will say that it started for my husband and I back in 1993. So from back in 1993, high school sweethearts, decided to take it a step further, moved here to Barbados about 15 years ago, and we just have been just grinding ever since. My son wasn't in the picture at the time. However, you know, we had made a decision that we wanted to do something better for ourselves. And that's where kind of like our entrepreneurial spirit kind of started from there. First, it was my husband's business. So you can tell him a little bit about your business and what you do. That's where we originated from. So go ahead.
How you doing? In 2014, after working in a barbershop, paying booth rent for what, 8 years? 7, 8 years, I launched my own barbershop, Air Force One Barbershop by nature. We gave a different twist to barbering here in Barbados, whereas we took on a New York-based type of barbershop, kind of different field. The services that we offer to our clients were unlike other services that were being offered in the Caribbean. And from there, we just, my wife, she launched Teaching is Reaching.
Yes, I have Teaching is Reaching, which is my educational service center. I also deal with children that have either special learning needs, and I do lessons for them in like a very unconventional way. So I don't do the regular, you know, sit down, take notes, you know, that kind of thing. I do a lot of interaction, a lot of hands-on, lots of games and activities, things that the children can relate to more, and got quite popular doing that. Ended up opening up underneath the umbrella of Teaching is Reaching. I opened up the Learning Lounge, which the Learning Lounge was one of those special places that children come to. It was actually a chattel house that I had decorated and kind of, you know, made it like homey for the children to come. So they felt very, very comfortable coming in. They kind of let down their guards. You know, a lot of the things that, you know, the issues that they were having wasn't necessarily because they didn't know it. It's just because they may have had a fear of whatever the subject was. So when they felt more relaxed and comfortable, I was able to break through those barriers. So the Learning Lounge came about right around a little bit after he started Air Force One. And then when COVID came into place, kind of like just kind of, you know, went away or whatever the case is. So I, you know, from there, you know, Teaching is Reaching kind of went back to my home base and started doing lessons from home. After that, I got into health and wellness, and that's where Shanie's Health Shop kind of came in. So now this is the third business. This is the third business that we developed as a couple. So we had Shanie's Health Shop, which offered, you know, various products for health, wellness, things for weight loss, weight gain, stress, depression, anxiety, you know, things for men, women, children, you know, just a very big range of products that we offered. And here recently, my husband and I, we just got off into our fourth business, which is called Royalty. So our Royalty brand sea moss is a wild crafted sea moss that we actually get from the oceans of St. Lucia. We started bringing that in just to kind of put into Shanie's Health Shop, just to see if we could get, you know, just a different caliber of people to come and shop at the health shop. And it just kind of really has blossomed and taken off from there. My husband actually can tell you a little bit more about royalty sea moss, how we came up with the concept, and
I think before we go into royalty sea moss, though, we need to talk more about Teaching is Reaching. Under the tutelage of Aubrey Padmore, Teaching is Reaching and Air Force One, we came together, did a collaboration.
Oh yes, we did.
And we started a program, the first program in Barbados, entitled Barbershop Bookshelf, where we allowed children to pay for their haircuts by reading a book. So on the first and last Saturday of every month, we allow school children to come in, and instead of paying $10, $15, or $20 for a service, we allow them to read a children's book, and that would pay for their haircut.
Yeah, that would be their payment.
Right, increasing literacy one head at a time.
So that was like our collaboration product. This was before Shanie's Health Shop, before royalty sea moss. Yeah, he had to remind me about that. But yeah, that was something that we both were collaborating together with our businesses, because we were actually right next door to each other, Air Force One being on the right, the Learning Lounge being on the left. So we kind of collaborated our businesses and came up with that program.
Under Aubrey.
Yes.
Shout out to Aubrey.
Yeah, under Aubrey Padmore, he actually kind of guided us, because I had taken the Elevate Entrepreneur program with Aubrey back in 2013 or 2014, and that's kind of how we actually were kind of pushed into entrepreneurship actually through his program. So so the Barbershop Bookshelf, yes, is like our very first collaborative project, and it was very, very successful.
It had us featured in the Nation newspaper.
Yes, it was. I remember that.
Very influential program.
And you know what? I'll tell you something. That is something that I have never heard of anybody doing.
Oh, wow.
I mean, as you were thinking, we used to, our company is called the Life Skill Institute.
Mm-hmm.
And we did parent empowerment training in public housing throughout the city and the state of North Carolina. And one of the things that made a big difference was when the parents came out, we gave them a stipend.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people didn't think it meant a lot, but it was something about the fact that we gave them the stipend. They took the money and they used it for good purposes, but it was like they felt that there was some value exchanged.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times when you give a person something of value, in exchange, you were giving a haircut for knowledge, for reading a book. That creates a whole nother vibration. So I think that's an incredible idea. Yeah. Now that must have worked well.
Yeah, it did. It actually, we were able to, in that Barbershop Bookshelf, we were able to showcase my very first book that I wrote under Global Village Publishing under Aubrey Padmore. I wrote a book, and that was one of the books that was generated throughout the Barbershop Bookshelf program, with children were reading it. So that first book was called What is 100, where I broke down the concept of 100, because as an educator, a teacher, I found that the number 100 was one of those numbers that sometimes children had difficulty with trying to break it down. Like 4 quarts is 100, 5 20s is 100, 10 10s is 100. Like they could not understand the concept. So I made a picture book to help them understanding it. And I remember vividly doing, when we first started the program, that was actually the highlighted book that the children kept going to want to read while they were getting their haircut. So it was, it was definitely an amazing experience. But then of course, COVID came, lots of things happened. We haven't actually brought back the program yet, but it's something that is on our agenda to do for sure.
Now, how did Dakarai get involved?
Well, Dakarai was during that time, it was 2014 or so. He was only probably about 6 or 7 years old at the time. And he would actually participated. He would actually help the other children read. Dakarai was one of those children that I did not have to teach to read. He just one day at 3 years old just started reading, and I'm like, how are you reading? And I have never taught you phonics. I haven't taught you, words or anything like that. He just literally I remember him just picking up a book and he started reading, and my husband was like, he's memorizing that book. But it was other things that he would get a hold of and he would be able to read with no problem. So obviously he's very gifted and talented. So we would use him to help read with the other children. So I even have pictures of him sitting with other children, you know, going over the book, reading with them, especially the ones that may not have been at that age where they could read independently. So he kind of was that person to kind of help with that. But that was actually his first involvement actually with any of our projects, you know, with the three of us, you know, doing something. So
Wow.
that's
Now,
where it started.
now let me ask you, now, Dakarai, when you got involved, how did you feel? You know, all the other kids are out playing and doing stuff, and you're in there reading with your parents. How did you feel?
I felt smart.
Ooh. Okay, go ahead.
I felt like I was helping other people to do something and helping them to learn something.
Wow. Okay. Now I like that. I felt smart. That makes you think about Muhammad Ali when he used to say, "I am the greatest."
Yes, absolutely. I am the greatest.
Now you need to do a T-shirt with that. I feel smart.
Exactly, right? Exactly. I like that idea. I feel.
I
Yeah.
feel smart. Yeah. So now, when you would come into the barbershop, did the kids kind of look up to you a little bit?
I don't know exactly, but I would hope so.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Now, when you go to school, how do the kids talk about you and your working with your parents? Because that's unusual, folks. Trust me. Most kids can't even get their parents to sit. Most parents have a difficulty getting the kids to sit down for dinner. Okay.
Exactly, right?
So now, when you go to school, how do the kids relate to you when they know about your project?
My friends are inspired by me, but I'm not sure about other people. I actually had 2 people that came up to me about it.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so this is just amazing. So you got the barbershop, okay, and I love that. What you call it? Hair Force One.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
That means we cater to people who are a special clientele that is unique.
Oh, beautiful. So now you move into the wellness.
Yes, we moved into the health and wellness. And Shanie's Health Shop was born a couple years ago. And it's actually a part of Hair Force One because inside the barbershop is another shop. So we actually utilizing the space wisely here where we are. Instead of going to pay rent at another location, Nature actually built me inside of his shop, Shanie's Health Shop. So we actually run Shanie's Health Shop inside of Hair Force One. So we do have all of our products there displayed for individuals to come in and purchase at their leisure. So yes, Shanie's Health Shop was born. We were both on a fitness journey. I mean, every day is a fitness journey for us. I mean, it's always a struggle, but every day we look forward to, being the better version of ourselves. And so we started getting into the health and wellness field. We started losing weight. We started, inspiring other couples and other individuals to do the same. Ended up becoming the power couple here in Barbados. That's how I got the title of Coach Shanie, because I would also coach other individuals how they could have how they could sell their own health and wellness products, also how they can acquire customers and how they can talk to their customers about the various products. So I became Coach Shanie in the midst of doing a Shanie's Health Shop. So that was birthed, and then from there we had the royalty sea moss then came into place. And again, my husband and I were on our health journey. We decided, he had a friend that lived in the States that actually sold sea moss, so he could kind of.
What actually happened is that certain days of the week I would go out and I would visit different malls and promote Shanie's Health Shop and the products that my wife had. And I had a friend a business associate who actually was selling sea moss gel. So he decided to come out with me a day, and while he was selling his sea moss gel, we having discussion, and I found out that he was having a difficult time finding a reliable source for the sea moss. So I have a friend in California who has a health and wellness shop as well, who has one in California. He had one in Texas. He has one in Hawaii that he supplies New York and a lot of other states with sea moss. So we collaborated together, and we gave birth to a royalty wildcrafted sea moss. Surprisingly, here in Barbados in the Caribbean, you would think that being that we're surrounded by so much sea moss here in the Atlantic, that we would have access to natural wildcrafted sea moss, but we don't. When we check the supermarkets, we were actually being sold farm-raised, pool-grown sea moss imported from the Philippines. No doubt.
Okay. Yeah.
And which really, all right, now sea moss.
Now that's what I want to hear. What is sea moss?
Sea moss is actually an algae that is grown in the ocean. It's a seaweed. It's an algae. And what it does, it grows underwater in the ocean, and it clings to the rocks in the bottom of the ocean, sedimentary rocks, which it draws its minerals from. Now, our body is comprised of 102 trace minerals. Sea moss has 92 of those 102 minerals. It's filled with vitamins A, E, K, high in iodine, potassium, magnesium, sulfur, everything that's good for the body. It's good for thyroid issues. It's good for, it's a superfood. It boosts the immune system. It increases the libido. It's great for your skin, hair, your nails. It's just great for the body, period. So once I seen this, I was like, man, like, well, we're being sold this product that has absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever, because the pool-grown sea moss that we are being sold, this is what they do. They actually take sea moss from the ocean. They take it, they put it in a pool. In the pool that they put it in, they have something in there that mimic the current of the ocean to allow the sea moss to grow. While it does grow in that environment, it doesn't have the rocks to cling to draw the minerals from. So you're basically just getting just the body of the sea moss without the nutrients of the ocean.
Wow.
And let me tell you, there's no vegetable on this earth that is more good for you than a sea vegetable.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so I gotta send you some sea moss, man. When we're done with this here, you send me your address, and we make sure we send you some sea moss, brother.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm just fascinated because in North Carolina we have in the tree moss in the trees.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the interesting thing about the tree moss is it clings to the trees, and it's like a what's the word? It's almost like a parasite because it sucks nutrients from the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that's the nature of moss, to
Yes.
suck nutrients from whatever it attaches to. Wow.
And that moss within itself is a superfood, something powerful, something that the human body needs, is essential to the human body.
Yeah. Now, how does it differ from seaweed?
Okay, well, it's different from seaweed. Seaweed doesn't have the actual minerals that sea moss does. Seaweed grows in the bottom of the ocean floor and breaks off and goes up to the top. But divers actually have to dive down to the bottom of the ocean to retrieve the sea moss.
Okay, got you. Well,
Sea moss
yeah. Now I think you're onto something there, because I think number one, we're going back to the natural.
Oh, yeah.
It's very clear.
It's organic.
Yes.
It's 100% natural. It's 100% vegan. And let me tell you, in these times, in these pandemic times, where we have COVID-19 and all these other different viruses that are coming about, there's nothing better than a strong immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I'm
There's
totally into that.
no vaccine on the planet that can fight off any disease better than a healthy immune system.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you, I've been for the last 12 years. Are we picking up an echo? Yeah, I hear.
No, not on this one.
Okay.
Oh, not on.
All right. For the last 12 years, I've been working with a nutritional product that helps build your immune system. That's the Montel Williams. And you know, Montel's been in health. Montel got me involved with this program, oh gosh, 13 years ago.
Okay.
And I have been a strong proponent of the nutritional approach to optimum health.
Mm-hmm.
The nutrition is the key right there.
Oh yeah, because your health is your wealth.
Your health is your wealth. You know, there's an Arabian proverb and it says, he who has health has hope. He who has hope has everything.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, you all been working with Aubrey with his entrepreneurship program. Now, how did that sort of figure in? Because it sounds like you all were entrepreneurs already.
Well, we were in a sense, but it came out more after I met Aubrey. Now, what's interesting is how Aubrey met me was he reached out to me on Instagram. On Facebook. I've never met Aubrey in person. I've never, you know what I mean? I only speak to him, you know, through Zoom or on the phone.
Yeah.
But how I met him was I had did a major project at my school where I had actually broken a record here. I had created 34 young authors. We had created a collaborative book. It was 2 different classes. I had created a collaborative book, Morning Barbados, Barbados Today, The Nation newspaper. Like it was all showcased all over the news, the social media and everything. And so Aubrey saw that I was in Barbados and he reached out to me and said, hey, you know, I want to interview you on my Carrot Voice Radio. Are you interested? And at the time, you know, I was working, I was just, you know, doing teaching, I was doing lessons, but I didn't have the Learning Lounge. I didn't have that mindset that I wanted to have my own thing going. And so I did the radio interview, ended up becoming his co-host for a season. You know how he ropes you in, right? So he roped me in,
Yes.
I became the co-host. And then from there, I was almost like getting on-the-job training when we were doing the radio show. I kind of got the entrepreneurial program, Elevate Entrepreneur program, kind of intertwined with that. And what ended up happening as a result of what I learned through there, my husband vicariously was learning through me.
Uh-huh.
And that is when Hair Force One was birthed, because I remember vividly when he was working in the barbershop, initially, I was encouraging him to go, you know, come, let's find somewhere for you to have your own barbershop. You know, you have your own clients. You know, most of the people that come in the barbershop anyway are there for you. Why don't you just have your own business? And he was like, what were you like? Tell the truth.
I honestly didn't have the vision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I honestly didn't have the vision. And fellas, sometimes as men, we tend to be stubborn. And, you know, we tend not to give our women the credit that they deserve. And I'll be honest with you, my wife had the vision before I did.
Mm-hmm.
And through her vision, we opened up Hair Force One.
Mm-hmm.
And once I was in there, man, Hair Force One has just flourished.
Yeah.
And we've moved from our first place of business to a bigger shop. We were able to employ more people, and it's just grown. And it's just become something truly, truly beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Now,
yes.
are you all working to buy the building?
Honestly, no, we haven't considered
Well, right now
that.
it's somewhat like a mall that we're in, where there are several. There are about
like
nine
It's like a strip
nine
mall.
other businesses in it. But right now we are having discussions about
Mhm.
moving to something that we can own.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. that's a good idea. You know, when you have, see, you all have such a unique business,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, when you get something that unique, people see it.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
and so often businesses that have good ideas in a changing real estate market can get priced out. So
Mhm.
I guess one of my personal things is to really work hard to buy the building, to buy
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
once you buy it, you can protect against inflation and everything else. And with the type of things that you all are doing, y'all might go from one building and you buy one, then you buy a bigger one and a bigger one and a bigger one for the rate you all are going. Yeah,
Exactly. It's true. It's
yeah,
true.
There's
yeah,
some, I know a lot of businesses, especially barbershops, that had to be closed down throughout the pandemic because the
absolutely.
landlord was still requesting rent
Yes,
during the period where we were under quarantine.
yes. Isn't that amazing? Mm,
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yes.
yes. Now I have a question. Now in Aubrey's class, he uses our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I do remember him. I don't have the physical book. I would like to get a copy of it, but he did refer to the book quite a bit.
yes,
So yeah, as we were taking the course, and when we were taking the course, it was a one-on-one thing. It wasn't even like other people that were with us. So it was more of a one-on-one thing. So yeah, but he did divulge, the different universal laws of success. And I didn't know that. I didn't realize that I would be speaking with the person who, actually created that. So.
well, I'll tell you this. I admire your get up and go into book publishing,
Mm-hmm.
writing. Has this book has been 9 languages,
Mm.
around 800,000 copies in print that I know about. Because
Wow.
when you get out, I know we've sold the rights in Romania, Australia, Japan. I'm sorry, China, Italy, Spain, Saudi Arabia. So
Wow.
France.
Yeah.
And so
Congrats.
once you start being on the international level, you don't really know how many books you sold.
It's true. It's so true. So you sold a lot of books, and it's
Yeah.
very helpful.
And
Yeah.
so you all are so on the right track. And this, there was a place in New York called Jerry's Den, and he tried to put together the barbershop, the health spa, the massage, the manicures, and a part of it was you would have people come in and talk at different times.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you need this model that you have of the haircut, because traditionally the barbershop has been the place where people go get information.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
true. Yeah. It's the information hub.
Globally, the barbershop is a cornerstone of the community.
Well, in the early days after the end of the Civil War, most of your main businesses started with a barbershop base.
Mm.
You go back Atlanta, Sweet Auburn Street. It was barbershop based. Even one of the great insurance companies that came out of Atlanta, I think Atlanta Life, one of the owners owned a chain of barbershops.
Mm.
And so it was an interesting contradiction, because they had like a set of barbershops, one that served white clients, another that served black clients.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because the white barbers had not yet, the white people were accustomed to getting their hair cut by black people. That was all kind of the slave heritage. And it
Okay.
really worked. So New York, St. Louis, there's a song called Stagger Lee. What was it? Stagger Lee shot Billy. I don't remember who. It was a hit song in America.
Okay.
But Stagger Lee was about the whole barbershop culture in St. Louis.
Okay.
And all the business in the community came through the barbershops. Because think about this, they were the one group of people of color who didn't work for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
They work for themselves.
Work for themselves, right?
And so that's a cornerstone of the business. So I just take my hats off to you for what you've done and how you have made it intergenerational.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, Dakarai, you are unique. You
Thank
are
you.
truly unique. And the fact that you all can work together and do great things is
Yes.
amazing. So
That's
is there anything else you'd like to share that, to help people as they sort of make this journey into entrepreneurship? Maybe some of the lessons that you've learned, all, collectively in making this a successful endeavor.
Well, I would like to tell people who want to approach entrepreneurship that it's okay to start off small.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I talk with people who they would like to start a business, but they want to start at the top. And I tell them, well, the only one who starts at the top, brother, is the grave digger. That's the only one I know who starts at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's okay to start from the bottom. It's okay to, start cutting out hair from your garage.
Yes.
Working in a shop, paying booth rent. To, to
Mm-hmm.
starting somewhere, open up where you can only facilitate one barber. And then move on to,
Mm-hmm.
and just grow. A lot of people, they feel like, well, if I can't do it big, I don't want to do it at all.
Yeah.
But no, that's not how entrepreneurship works. And also, you can't be afraid to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of times, in order to get it right, you first have to get it wrong.
Yes.
Okay.
And I had to learn that for myself. I mean, you have to get it wrong sometimes in order to get it right.
It's true.
Wow.
And
yes.
the more failures you have, the more success that you obtain. Because every time you try and fail, you're just that much closer to what your ultimate goal is.
And it's knowledge.
Yeah,
it's knowledge that you're gaining. And
that's what we are teaching our son, with his clothing line that he just started. By the way, he started this clothing line when he was 12. He took his birthday money, actually, just in the past couple of weeks. He spent all his birthday money on purchasing T-shirts and selling them. And so far, he has done extremely well. He is going to an internship right now with a graphic artist. He's learning marketing. He's learning how to price his products. He's learning what the customer is going to like, what the customer is not going to like. So he's taking all of these things. And by the way, he decided to do this on his very own. It was interesting because he was in his room a day. This is how I knew that he was really serious about this clothing line, because, truth be told, children go through different phases where they like this one day, the next day they don't like it. 1 week he's into this, and the next week he's into something different. But I knew that he was really for his clothing line. Is I went in his room, and on his wall he had like all these pictures that he had printed off on the internet of plain shirts, and he had designs all in them, and he had them glued on his taped on his wall all over, like shoes and hats and shirts and pants and all these different things. And I was like, well, what are you doing? And he was like, I started my own clothing line. And I'm like, okay, I didn't really take it seriously, honestly, at first, because, like I said, he's been through so many, different things that he liked. And he came to me, and this is, again, how I know he was serious. He came to me and said that he wanted to learn how to print T-shirts. And so I actually had a former student who actually owns his own business now. He's about how old is Jeremiah?
19.
He's 19 now. He has his own business. He prints T-shirts. He has his own design and everything. So I called him up and I was like, hey, would you be interested in mentoring my son and letting him know like how the industry works? And he said, sure. So he goes to him 3 days a week, on top of his schoolwork, on top of, basketball and other things that he's a part of. So he's been actually going there. He's been soaking it in. He's been learning some stuff. Like today he went. We're just now actually getting back not too long ago from it. So he can kind of share with you what he does, if that's okay, what he does while he's there. Go ahead and share with him what you do while you're there.
So when I go to my internship, I learn how to print shirts. I learn how to use the machines. I learn how to use the computer app to make designs, and I learned about different brands and different color shoes that's coming out, so I know what color to make my shirts and stuff like that.
Wow.
And he actually has some samples of the shirts that he has here. Let's start with the bright one here. Let him see what it is that you're doing. So this is one of his shirts. So all of his shirts have the word valid on it. And I will let him explain to you how he came up with the word valid and actually what it means. Because he did all this, like I said, he did all this on his own.
Wow.
The concept. So go ahead and tell him.
So I got the name valid because I wanted a name that had a meaning, but also sounded good. So, and to me, well, not to me, but valid means truth, loyalty, and honor.
Okay.
So that's what his brand represents. And I remember him saying, you know, when I think of valid, I think of, you know, being yourself, you know, being true to you, you know. So these other designs. So what he does is he actually does custom orders right now. And how many orders have you had so far? He just started printing shirts in the past. This is week 3, and he's had how many shirts? How many orders?
I think around 20 so far. But I got 21 printed yesterday. 21 shirts.
Right. So so he's printing all of these things. He's putting them all together. He even has inserts, a little business card that he puts inside of each shirt when he sells it, so that, you know, he's thanking the customer for purchasing. So he's done quite a bit, and this is actually after he became an author of a book. So not only is he a business owner at 13, he was an author at 11, got this published when he was 12. And the name of this book is called But Then COVID Came. So he has a lot that is going on right now. Valid is just his newest project, but before that, he did the book But Then COVID Came, and he can kind of tell you how that happened, if that's okay. Go ahead, tell him how But Then COVID Came.
I decided to write But Then COVID Came because I was at home, I was bored, I didn't have anything to do. It was the pandemic, so we was on lockdown. So I decided to write down my thoughts about how COVID has affected my life. And later on, like after we looked at it and stuff, we realized that this would be a pretty good book. So we decided to take it a step further, and we got it made into a book. We reached out to one of my family friends. Her name is Samara Gaskin. She did the illustrations for us. She actually taught herself how to be a graphic artist. So when I asked her, she said yes. So she did the illustrations and sent them to me, and we formed it into a book, and we got it published.
Yeah. And so see all the graphic artistry. She's actually a self-taught graphic artist. She went to YouTube University, as she calls it, and she's 15 years old. She is a fifth former student at Queens College here in Barbados. So she actually illustrated the book with no problem, no issues. It took her a couple months to do it, but that was kind of like the start of him with his business adventures. I find that this book helped build his confidence. We've spoken to schools overseas. We talked to a high school who actually picked up 100 copies of our book.
Wow.
To distribute in their classrooms. They're using it as a teaching tool, because this book is actually the way the book is set up is the children are able to connect with what Dakarai is saying in the book, because he talks about different events and things that he used to be able to do, but then COVID came and he's not able to do it anymore. So like, give him a couple things that you were saying in the book that, you know, you used to be able to do before COVID.
Some of the things are like traveling overseas to see my cousins, playing football with my friends, going to the mall, you know, stuff like that. Teenagers, you know.
Things that they like to do that they weren't able to do anymore. So all of that is actually, you know, and the children were able to relate. We've done talks here in Barbados. I've done teaching events in Barbados where I live stream through Zoom. We read the book. We have it in audio format as well. Dakarai read the book, the children. I then did a writing lesson to go with it. So it turned into a really big deal. Like we sold out. We had a what do you call it? We had a book signing overseas, and we, the books that we had there just sold out completely. We came here and did one at the mall. The book sold out there. So we're going to reprint so that, people can, repurchase again. But, this is where Dakarai's kind of like this is where his creative juices started with this book here. But then COVID came.
Well, I tell you this, there's a young man, and I was telling Aubrey. Now, how old are you now, Bakari?
Pardon me?
How old are you now?
I'm 13 years old.
13. There's a young man named Farrah, Farrah, Gray, Gray, who I think became a millionaire by the time he was 15 or 16. Okay.
Is he on YouTube? He's the one that does the videos.
He has a lot of videos, and his book is called Reallionaire, R-E-A-L-I, The Reallionaire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, check him out because you have a lot of that same, initiative, same vision that makes things happen. So Farrah Gray, I had a chance to we were at the same table at President Obama's inauguration when he had when he spoke afterwards at the party that night at the Congressional Black Caucus.
Wow.
And so Farrah Gray, we all shared the table, and I was super impressed with the young man. So you keep up your good work.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Well, what I love to do is, number one, thank you so much, because I think it's truly inspirational to see families working together. There's so much discord now, but to see families able to work together and to have a vision and make it real.
Mm-hmm.
From when Mr. Nature had the idea for the barbershop, and then you all grew it into almost like a learning center.
Yes.
And then you threw in some nutritional and wellness products. And then you threw in book publishing.
Yeah.
One-stop shop, man.
This is the Ellis's.
Yeah. And then now you're getting ready to go into the clothing industry.
Exactly.
It's just going to be a matter of time. I am honored to have a chance to share with you. And let me give you my email address. Email me all of your contact information, because I would love to get a copy of the book, number one.
Okay. Sure.
And also, I would like to get you I know I can get you a digital copy of the 12 Universal Laws of Success right away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I have some contacts there on Barbados. They may have one, and if so, I'll make sure you get one. But and so my email is Herbert, Herbert,
Herbert
at Herbert Harris, HerbertHarris.com.
Herbert at HerbertHarris.com.
Yes, and send me all your contact information. I'll make sure to get you the ebook version. What do you call it? The Kindle version.
Okay, perfect.
And then love to get a copy of that book. And let's talk about doing some other business things in the future.
Absolutely, definitely. We definitely will do that for sure.
I'm gonna call Aubrey and tell him he's been hiding y'all, Yeah, he's been hiding y'all because y'all got so much going on. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
I know. Sometimes we don't know if we're coming or going because we got all these different projects going. But one thing, we thank God every single day. Every day we pray and we just thank God just for allowing us just to even be who we are as a family. A model family to other people. You know, a lot of people look up to us. A lot of people see us out and they be like, oh, we know you. We see you on Instagram or we see you on Facebook. And,
Yes.
you know, like, keep doing great. Right before we got on the call with you, I had some people messaging me and was like, you guys are doing amazing with your son, and, you know, congratulations, and keep it up, and you're an inspiration, and keep going, and don't let nobody stop you. And, you know, so we get all these different, you know, comments and messages. So it's definitely well worth it.
Well, you have earned it greatly. And what we'll wrap up now, I'd love to end with a closing thought. And maybe each of you could just share a closing thought
Right.
for the world.
I would say, you know, just to kind of piggyback off of nature, you know, anything is as big as one small. Everything that's big was once small.
Beautiful.
That's my closing.
Thank you.
Dakarai, what's your closing?
I think that whatever you want to do in life, that you can do it as long as you put your mind to it.
Woo! My goodness. Okay. And Mr. Nature, we thank you so much. If you had another word you want to add, you done dropped one bomb.
Man, I just want to say, Dr. Harris, on behalf of myself and my family, we thank you for having us on. It was a pleasure, and we look forward to not only growing as a family, but growing as a global community. I'm sure that we could get together and we could probably do some great things together as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, excellent. Well, our watchword is this: the best is yet to come.
Yeah,
All right.
It's true.
And so it is. All right, I'll look for your email, and we're going to be staying in. Send me all your, whatever your Instagram, whatever your social media stuff, because I'm loving everything you're doing.
Great. Thank you
right.
so much.
Thanks, Dr. Harris.
Have a good one. Thank you so
Good
much.
night.
Good night. Bye-bye now.
Night.
Bye.